Oh, Dandadan, yeah.
First,
That was good.
start with the opening because I love this opening.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
I mean, it's definitely super similar. Mash led, but since this has the Dandadan name in it, it's really, really neat how it went together with it
yeah, and
there.
like I told you, like this is kind of like where I based off our name for the podcast on, right? With the
Oh yeah,
Japanese, kind of like from
yeah.
based it off kind of how this Dandadan is, and you know, you want to tell what the people your the synopsis.
I like the setup. I didn't know much about it, but I definitely knew that it was a story that it had zombies and aliens in it.
Mm-hmm.
So um, it was really well interculate like um put together both, especially introduce
Mm-hmm.
on how they're going to complement or compare. So it was really, really, really well how like one each each of our main characters um, has his area of expertise with it, and yet is victim
Yeah.
of
So
the other area that it's not that doesn't believe in or doesn't it's not into, I guess.
yeah, I do
So
like
that was a very
yeah, that's really good, right? Because like it starts off kind of like slowish, right? With we're introduced with Momo first, right? The main girl,
hmm
and
yeah,
she just got
having a boyfriend.
yeah, she just broke up with her boyfriend, tried to kick his ass and failed, and you know she does she does meet our good second protagonist, right? The boy that we find out
hmm
is named after, like during the end of the episode we find out his name is named after the kind of guy she likes, right?
My God, that was hilarious.
But
That was hilarious.
for the meantime she calls him occult kun because he's crazy, right? He believes in UAPs, right? He gets all this like newspapers to like kind of show proof, and because she protected him from the bullies, he figured, oh, you didn't protect me because you like me, but it's because you like the UFOs, and into that, right? And obviously, Momo was not a very nice girl to him at first because she was like, "I just got broken up, dude. Shut the fuck up, right?" And she apologizes.
Well, to be fair, she's the one that butted into his life.
Mm-hmm.
Then she wanted him to get lost. So it's like, come on, girl. Like you totally
Yeah,
went and became the hero to this loner dude. Of course, he's gonna like think that you're his friend. You know what?
yeah, at
But
least like friendly to him, and obviously
I mean,
that's how you get
they
off
had to
to.
come across they had to come across each other one way or another. So that's I guess that's the way they
Yeah, it's like
crossed each other's paths. So
mm-hmm. It's one of those, right? Because they're like normal circumstances, she probably wouldn't have paid him any mind at first. But you know, as we know, like later on in the episode, how she also was victim to bullying. How once she saw that our that our good boy Occult Kun was getting bullied, she kind of decided to step in, right? So that was really nice of her. But obviously after that, she couldn't just leave him there. So like they get into a fight, and that's when they do the whole, oh, well, let's make a bet, right? Let's find out who is right.
yeah,
And that's
yeah,
and
it was a good way to show both areas of it.
okay,
But
now I gotta
the
ask you.
animation is very good.
Yeah, the
The
animation is
animation
stellar.
of
Like
like
I love this art style. I gotta ask you,
Yeah, the art style and just like the 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 the
the
type
vibe.
of no, the type of characters,
Mm-hmm.
like the demon that possessed the dude, the aliens that abducted her,
Yeah.
just just the the other forms of the other characters that
Yep.
that's
So
part of the story. They also have
yeah. So I gotta ask you though, what did you think of the dialogue? Because first of all, did you watch it in dub or sub?
yeah, I did watch it in dub. I did watch
Okay.
it in dub.
So I just want to emphasize, right, in the sub, the
Mhm.
the the spirit that possessed the boy, the turbo granny, she told him,
Yes, the
like
voice of
she
One
told him like,
Piece.
like I'll let you suck my tit if you let me gobble the wiener. That's how she said it in like sub. I know the dub slightly changed it because they used slang for both.
Yeah, yeah, no, I did not. No, they did not do any of that.
So that's why I think you should try to watch it in sub because just for that alone, because like slight difference in translations, but like it'll still be good either way. Um, but I'll make sure to let you know of all the other crazy things that happen if you just don't want to watch it in sub. But
Hmm.
the whole
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say how the voice actor was from One Piece,
yes,
but
that's the other part, right? The granny is
I thought that's where it was
is
going.
Luffy from
Yeah,
One Piece, and the main boy in the Japanese sub is Tanjiro's being.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
and the
Hmm.
aliens are also from the voice actor from One Piece as well.
Mm, yeah, but
All right.
they definitely keep this girl naked though. Not that I mind though. She has such a good complex like tone.
I think
Um,
what was really like this is like the part that kind of will probably like keep most people off, right? This when the girl gets abducted because like she has hands
yeah,
all
they were
over
gonna
her,
rape her. Yeah, that was a
and
little bit crazy. That was a little bit
yeah, and
scary.
they're talking about how like, which is interesting. We get some info on the at least slight info on the aliens, right? Because they're like we're all male, so we can't produce, right? So like the only way they reproduce is through cloning. So the reason why they keep abducting people is to take their genitalia, so to study and be find a way to reproduce themselves without having to clone. And of course,
And so that was yeah, so that was the story with the aliens. While the story with the ghost is that he's possessed, and I think he stays possessed. He hasn't
yes,
like
he
he
take
hasn't like
well not
yeah.
possessed anymore, right? Because
Well, we find out that she's a priestess thanks to her grandma. Like,
well, so
so-
a couple of things, right? Like obviously like Occult Kun like shows up through the phone somehow, right? And the aliens are kind of like jarred because they're like our technology can't do that. What's going on? And we do find out her grandma was like a exorcist, right? And this is where we get like the little backstory of how she told her like, put your hand with one finger up or whatnot, right? Like a ritual to make sure
right.
to keep like the evil omens
Yeah,
away.
her mom is a priestess. She can exercise. Yeah.
And
Yep.
that's what got her to get bullied because she had to perform that ritual like before going to school, and all the kids teased her about it. And the moment the guy she liked during that time, right, the little boy also started teasing her, that's when she kind of like decided not to do it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, hmm that's right. Like, there was a whole story why, but I mean, it's interesting how she's so into ghosts, but then she has a traumatic experience about how she knows about them, you know. So
Yeah, but I think the reason why she still believes in that, right, is kind of like that's the only real connection she has to her grandmother now, right? Because it seemed like part after she stopped doing the rituals, she probably felt like a certain way about how she interacted with her. So like her keeping this belief that these ghosts exist is kind of like her way of still being connected to her grandmother, which obviously like she says that's all she has now because she has no father and no mother.
it kind of felt like she had forgotten all about her grandma, even though that was like the reason she knows about ghosts and she believes in ghosts. But because when she was talking about ghosts, her grandma, well, the flashback of the grandmas kind of came to play, but that was it. It was when she was in the
So
gutter and needed to really, really like save herself
yeah, so
that
I have like
she
kind of like a thing
really,
for that, right? Where she freed herself. It wasn't just the fact that
well,
she
her grandma taught her a spell to how to like,
yeah
purified herself, or like,
yeah
like
you
repel bad energies in a way,
yeah,
so
so it's technically like psychic waves or something like that, right? Because um just due to the fact that she was getting like attacked psychically with from the aliens, right? I feel like that also like put away kind of like because she's already been practicing the rituals and stuff to kind of like help awaken her dormant abilities. And when
well, it
she
has to come from her grandma. It's more like it runs in the family.
yeah,
Your
it runs in the
grandma,
family, but I feel
like your
like
grandma,
Mo
your
Shonen,
grandma
right? Like in Mo Shonen, you obviously
gives it
undergo
off
like stress, and
so
that's
you
what
can pull
like
it off.
yeah, and that's what helps it like boost up and stuff. So that whole animation though with how she used her psychic powers, that was like really sick.
Hmm.
Like it turned green
Yeah,
and stuff,
yeah.
and then she did the thing
The
from
fact
the
that they kind of just come to terms that they're stuck together
well,
because,
so
well, because she needs to help him with this whole possessed granny.
yes, so the granny cursed them, right?
Hmm.
So in order to like keep the curse away, she has to keep constantly suppress it with her powers. And lo and behold, like the only way to do it is to beat the granny, right? They have to go back to the tunnel, and I think they have to race her again. But this time, Occult Kun has to win. That's gonna be like the main catch for like whenever they decide to go through that. Um, but yeah, I do like how you know it started off the episode with her like kicking or attempting to kick her ex, and then like towards the end she ended up kicking, but this time she used psychic powers to boost it. So it's in the aliens flying this time. So I thought that was like a neat uh callback to like the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, that was good. A lot of ways that they eh, put it in the angle they did things was really, really good.
I agree.
Um,
I agree.
I
And
definitely
and
like this approach of two different worlds, but two different science scientifics, sci-fis,
yeah, like,
um, come
basically like
together.
two conspiracies,
Hmm.
right? Putting two conspiracy kind of like subjects together. And not only that,
Right.
like making it so it's kind of like a love story too, right? Because obviously
Correct.
these two are looking to be like the end game couple, or whenever they decide to be, because the girl does, the guy that did fall for her, because obviously he was telling her, like throughout this the my entire time, right? I was always waiting for these aliens to show up, but they never did. And you're like the only person that ever like paid me any mind at all. Like everybody would just bully him, and he kind of just accepted that that's how things were, and until the aliens would eventually show up for him, but they never did. So, and then she fell harder when she realized his name is Ken, and we got a big explosion in the back. Mm,
Yeah, it was cute.
mm-hmm.
It was cool, more than cute, but
Well,
um, okay.
yeah, Dandadan. I mean, it's what you watched most recently, so it should be more fresh. So,
Sure, sure. Yeah, Dandadan was legit with their black and white like scenes.
mm-hmm.
It was it was cute. It was cool. It was so
Go ahead. How do you feel about?
there's really so much comic relief in this kind
Mm-hmm.
of like series, just like throw in there. It's really funny how we're left with her just being in shock of this dude being named. Like she finally finds the dude, but it's like,
Not what she
I mean,
expected.
look at the fucking dude. He's such a nerdy, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, small little, kid.
He's the silent type, though.
Um, so yeah, I mean, he is. But
He's got 2 out of the 3. Um,
uh
yeah,
she
she's
really, really even changed his name because of the way that it will make him fall for him.
okay. So,
She's so
how,
funny. She's
how do you
so
feel about the
ridiculous.
nickname?
I mean, it's whatever.
Uh,
Yeah, I mean, it's
I thought it was very
fun.
cute and daring
Yeah, I mean, it's
because
fun.
she called him Occult Kun prior, right? And she's like, okay,
Yeah.
you're just Okaru now.
Uh-huh. No, I mean, it was nice. Um, this whole her having to like be using her powers to suppress the curse is really getting annoying, but I mean, that
Mm,
story that we're going with, and that's why they're still together, like stuck together in a
yeah.
way.
Mm-hmm.
And we see that they're trying to figure out the next move, and that they decide to go to her house.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, because it was already getting bright, so the spirits only come out at night, right? So they, even if they went to the tunnel, the granny wasn't gonna show up during the day. Um. So I do like the interactions that happened while they were there, right? Because we get really interesting perspective, like how Okarun feels about himself and how he views how people view him, right?
and why he felt when what she did, like the opportunity
Yeah,
to make
yeah. So
a
like,
friend, like fuck.
yeah, he really thought he was gonna make a friend, so he didn't want to lose out the opportunity. Obviously, we
Mm-hmm.
got his backstory prior and how like everybody avoided him, and even the aliens that he wanted to befriend never responded to him.
Oh man.
Hmm.
Oh man. Poor dude for real.
Yeah, and I mean,
But I mean, it's really nice that she really like hears him out and doesn't mind him, in a way.
yeah,
So
she lets him know, like, she doesn't mind
so
him.
funny. And she's like teasing him like you're so high maintenance because she needs to like suppress the fucking curse. And
Yeah. Oh
like
yeah, yeah. Like before the curse, though,
so
I do like
needy.
before we get to the epic transformation, right? I do like how when he was telling her like about why he went up to her and stuff, he was kind of like putting himself down, right? And she was kind of like that. This is what I hate about you, right? She's like you always assume things that other people think about you instead of talking to us and communicating, right?
Right. That's why you don't, that's the real reason why you don't have any friends. I know, I love it.
And then
To like,
I like, and also what was really neat is as she was telling him this, she was just like stepping closer to him, right? Like little by little, she was
mhm,
talking to him,
mhm.
and and then as soon as she got close to him and started poking him, he's like, you're ugly," and it was like, and then they went back and fought it. Honestly, if a girl that brought me over to her house had me almost burned to death before entering her place, I would kind of be salty about that. Which that talisman that she did remove for so Okaran can come in was pretty important. How do you feel about the alien that invaded though?
Oh, I thought it was cute in a way.
You thought the
Because um, it was like a alien, but a traditional like sumo, like, but at the same time he had that Aztec kind of look.
Yeah, this show's all
So,
about getting genitalia apparently, right? So far, he wants he wants the banana like the other aliens. I do like that. Okay, you talk about the transformation, right? How do you feel about the transformation?
well,
For
I really think it's really crazy that they're just saying they can do this and they do it, you know? But I mean, I'm glad they're pulling off
yeah,
these kinds of powers, I guess, you know? Um, and and I mean, he looked really badass. Like
yeah.
his
This is like
his look, like,
I want you to know, like when I saw this sign in the manga is what caused me to pick it up. Like this transformation was the whole reason I read the manga in the first place.
okay.
Yeah, that was like early on, like two and a half years ago, something like that. That I saw it and I'm like, oh, I need to pick up this manga. Uh, but obviously I love how this show's turning, and like you said, it does feel like a bit like Momo's just powers are just growing really rapidly, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's able to separate in the first episode she separated the Turbo Granny from Okarun, and now she's able
Mm-hmm.
to separate just the mental aspect of of Turbo Granny, but not the physical trait. So Okarun can still sort of be in a form, but not have the Granny like mentality.
Right.
But I do like that it's not like she can do this and he's just gonna be able to run wild. He pretty much says I only got like two shots, right? Or like he only has like two shots at it because his body can't keep up with the amount of pressure this transformation does on him. So I thought that was like a neat way to kind of like handicap and also like make it feel more earned that he's not just gonna go in this transformation and just like blow everything away. There's gonna be like consequences after. So give and take for a balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
I definitely think um her powers are I was kind of excited that we were going to see the grandma because I felt like it was going to give me more of an idea of her powers, you know?
I mean,
Um,
if you saw the preview, we're getting that next week. So
okay. But yes, it's really nice to
I mean,
to see how they're they're getting used to fighting, you know, these demons. But it was just kind of like funny how it happened, right? Because it's like, oh, the grandma has talismans and she put a barrier,
Yeah.
and
It's,
then they take this talisman and then they don't realize that they're taking their barrier, they're taking protection.
yeah.
Then they get attacked, and I like this how the animation was done during the fight, that it was black and white
Yes.
since it was at night, and it looked really cool for the alien, since he had like this design of sumo Japanese and Aztec,
Yeah.
humongous guy. So
So
that was really, really neat.
so funny thing about this alien design, right? It's actually based off
Hmm.
an actual like alien that was found like in South America, something like that. Or like you can go look up the I forgot what Okurun called it, but you can look up
Hmm.
whatever alien type he called it, and you can find like information about it online for as like
Hmm.
a folklore about it essentially. So
Wow. Yeah, it was, yeah, it felt really strong, like, the mythology
hmm
and the, yeah.
I
So that fight was really good. The the fact we get to see that there's development from their, you
yeah.
know,
Okay.
power, well,
So how did you feel when you
combination,
yeah.
power combination, I should say.
hmm Yeah, they did do that combo where she like launched them as he was running fast to like take out an entire leg,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mm.
the sumo alien cheated. You know,
He was so mad. It was funny.
yeah, and because so when I was first like my first experience with this right through the manga form, I thought Momo was like done. Like I'm like, oh, Okurun's about to go ballistic, right? Because I don't think she was gonna be able to be conscious
I
after.
know she was getting mad. Yeah, she was getting mad because she was getting hurt or attacked.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so we did see her powers waver a bit, right? But
Hmm.
somehow she was able to pull through, and because she got like basically punched inside the wall,
Yeah,
that she
dude, she really did.
that she was able to like get punched deep enough to get away from the door. So she basically just grabbed the talisman and you know put it back on the door, and the alien went bye bye. You know, got burned to a crisp. I do want to say that the reason why I found the black and white kind of thing really cool, right, with red,
Hmm.
is because this alien was emitting like black fog. So it wasn't necessarily that it was the night, but it was like emitting like some black fog type of
Oh
thing,
yeah, that's right. Hmm.
which was what was
You're right.
caused, which was what was causing them to start bleeding from the nose as well. So like they were not only was this a fire, but they were also kind of like in a timer because they didn't know how much longer they were going to be able to stay in the black fog and
Yep.
stay alive. So I
Well,
was
good thing they pulled off this fight, although she
she
got knocked out at the end.
yeah
So
she kind of passed out. Uh
yeah, she just got passed out
and
from the whole battle.
oh okay. So how'd you like the ending shot with Okurum being all twisted?
Oh, that's nuts. I mean, it's gruesome, but in a cool way.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't wait to see. I'm sure the grandma's gonna be the one that, you know,
More than likely,
I'm sure she comes back. Yeah, I'm sure she comes back
I
and sees
mean,
this dude and puts him under control
yeah,
or under her control.
yeah.
So
We'll see what happens next.
mhm.
Obviously, this is a good cliffhanger.
Yeah, we'll see how he gets back. He gets put back to normal.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Maybe somebody comes in and knocks him out. We don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, it was pretty twisted
Mm-hmm.
how he was getting.
And so would you say this is one of the better new ones this season so far from these two episodes?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm. I I would
yeah.
I would
I
say like
mean, it's definitely gives me a sense of what it's gonna be like, and I cannot wait to meet more characters, and more
oh
enemies. It
yeah.
kind of reminds me of Sailor Moon and their alien attacks, you know. It was
So I, I will say, right now it feels kind of like a monster of the week type of thing, right? Basically,
yeah.
but there is arcs coming where we'll dive more into like certain spirits or
Mhm.
alien folklore, right? Uh,
Mhm.
and,
Okay.
and those will be like a bit more precise or like condensed more, right? Like you'll feel like a more like story beat flow to them, and a lot of them, a lot of the characters that you're gonna meet, they were already shown in the
Mhm.
in the opening, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the main
For sure.
squad.
That's why I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Because I already know there's like a whole squad,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
and they all look interesting. So
I will let you know that they all are. Up next, dun dun dun. So,
nice.
tell me how you're feeling about the introduction of Granny Seiko.
Oh, that's great. She's great. She's definitely a hip grandma.
Mm-hmm.
Good for them. And she's strong.
Oh yeah, she's strong, um, gorgeous. You know, like she's a, there's no like confirmed age, but people are saying that she could be up to 80 years old. So,
Oh wow.
mm,
Looking good for that age, for sure.
oh for
Any
sure.
age.
Mm-hmm. That's
She
for
looks
sure.
good. So yeah, no, I like her. When I saw the characters, I never imagined to the granny,
Oh yeah.
like yeah, she was an adult, but I didn't think she was gonna be the granny, especially because we heard so much about this granny
Yep.
at the beginning, and I still didn't think it was gonna be her. So,
Yeah.
and that she was gonna be such a big part of the story, like characters, like it's one of them
Oh yeah, for sure.
characters, side characters. So, well, that's good.
I mean, she was in the intro, but
Yeah,
so
she's a good addition. Like, of course, you can
um,
tell.
yeah. I mean, for sure. She definitely like, obviously, like when we first saw her in like the flashback, she had that traditional like uh exorcism clothing, right? Exorcist clothing that they have at the end again. But in when we meet her, she's kind of like dressed more like Momo, like kind of like in that style right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like this was her way of kind of like recommunicate, like kind of like connecting back with Momo, because they had that big falling out when she told him she's a fake.
Mm-hmm. Got bullied. Yeah, got bullied for her. Yeah.
Yeah, so her putting up these kind of like clothes that are more so suited to like Momo's generations, kind of like her way of trying to get closer to Momo again, So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a
For sure.
really neat touch. And obviously
Yeah.
there was a mini fight. How did you feel about the Granny versus Turbo Granny clash?
Well, that was, I mean, wow, like I guess that's how the drama is in this series, like um I really thought that was an interesting touch how the spirit just kind of communicated to that chick that she need to fight that to meet her there, like she give her like a challenge, like they needed to meet there. And and I mean, it makes me, when the granny was like kind of questioning or just asking her question about the powers so she can kind of like learn
Yeah.
and know and figure out what what it is and whatnot. I thought that was um I don't know, it felt a little off somehow. Like I felt like it was good, obviously, like, and then she knows, but I felt like she was downplaying her a lot, like, and
I
and
mean,
like
she
and like
figured
she's really strong, like, and then she's really, really, like, how do you say, like,
confident,
um
conceited.
like she's like, no, not the girl. I feel like the grandma was a little bit on the consider side, and more of a snob about it, like, because I do feel like that, I do get her too. The girl made fun of her, or like, they, um fell apart because of this reason, and then she comes back like, oh, grandma, help me, I have
Yeah.
this, and you're the one that, like, I get it, but at the same time it's like, I don't know, like,
I mean, I think it just goes to show like where Momo got her way of doing her act, right? It just felt like uh Momo just became a spitting image of her grandma in that sense, at least personality wise, right? That's how.
yeah, I have to agree on that, and that's why I will feel like the grandma will be more happy for her, and more like, more into it, more into it, but it seems like she's very, like, I don't know. I
I'm
don't know.
I
I
mean,
don't know, but I do get it at the same time, because of the history, I guess.
yeah, and I mean
So,
like this is like they haven't really communicated as much. I think that's what like the overall message was like because they haven't communicated as much. It's kind of hard for them to just be like trusting for one another, right? Whatever like obviously Momo loves her grandmother, but like they haven't really communicated up to this point again, right? As far as like we've
hmm
been told, right? So I think that's why she was kind of just like seeing if Momo was actually being sincere. I didn't really think she had like any like snobby stuff
hmm
about it. She just wanted Momo to be sincere with herself, right? So
hmm No, for sure.
it was nice that she was like, "Yeah, I'm just playing. I didn't kill him. He's he's over there in the storage." And but I do want to talk about like the little scrimmage that she had with the Turbo Granny, like at the beginning,
hmm
because that was like so cool how she predicted how she was gonna move and trapped her in the circles, right? To like be able to free
hmm
Okurun.
hmm
That was really sick. I
Yeah, that was legit. Well, she is
so
a badass.
yeah,
Well, like,
yeah,
a pro.
yeah, and I want you to know they had like the way she walked up to the Turbo Granny and like all the posture. It was like the same way of like Gohan went up to like Super Buu in Dragon Ball Z, right? And it's like I'm gonna kill you, like almost like verbatim, like the same lines too. So it was like a
Mm.
nice little like homage to like Dragon Ball, which I like. And of course we get the she decides to like train him, after like because obviously Momo has just awakened her power, so she doesn't quite know like how they work per se, and Okarun has to build up his body to withstand the curse, and that was like
Yeah,
that was gonna be their way of like being prepared to face Turbo Granny, but you know,
things are getting serious for sure.
mm-hmm, they definitely are.
Yeah, I like that. I like that things, you know, kind of have a reason. Uh, they're explained. They have some logic. Like, even the whole granny and her. That even that drama, it's too real for it to be an anime in a way.
Yeah,
It's like that's like how humans really are. Like,
Yeah,
they'll be holding their,
grudges.
their feelings and, their grudges.
Mm,
So,
No, yeah, I do. I think that's like what one of the things I love about this series because it feels like the characters are like actual people. You know, like they have conversations that actual people have. You know, whether and that's how like they grow closer to one another too. Like, but
mhm.
Okarun and obviously uh Momo they do not have the luxury of time, which is like really nice. I like that this anime and series in general did not like do the whole like, oh, you're gonna be training for this for a month and then you're gonna have to you're gonna be prepared to face your first main boss, right? It's like
Mhm.
it's like the main boss said, I'm not waiting. You know, I got enough power to like curse all of you and kill you all. Uh,
Right.
so I I like I like that it took that turn, and obviously we find out a little bit more about like how Momo sees her powers prior, which is like she senses like auras, right? And she can like hold or like grab things with like aura to like pull them, throw them, hit them, And it turns out like she's kind of working with like half the power she initially awoke with, something like that, right? Uh, and it's gonna and it was this train because she's not gonna be able to do train now. They're gonna have to improvise more, kind of like how they did in the previous fight with the big alien.
Mhm.
Mm. And
Mhm.
how do you feel about like the ending portions of this episode with the grandma hugging Momo as they're about to head into battle?
I thought the grandma hugging Momo. I thought they left to the train and the grandma couldn't go.
No, the grandma cannot go because I think it was stated that all her power comes from within
Yeah,
that
yeah,
area.
yeah. But I'm saying, so why are you talking about? I don't remember that scene. Hug before they go. Oh, before she
The
goes to
yeah
that
before
thing.
yeah
Then
before
oh, that okay.
yeah.
Oh well, like anything. Like I just feel like it's it makes it real. Like their their feelings in a way. Like but that's normal. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean, you're telling her to go, and then without you, that matter.
Hmm.
I mean, even though you have a reason, it's just
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
you need to comfort that. Even
yeah,
though there's a good reason for it. So,
yeah. That's what I
mhm.
really like because at the end of the day,
But I
go ahead.
did think it was rude, that she just kind of took the the um, the outfit out, the garments and shit.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
like, I was like, I feel like she's gonna regret that. I don't know. I hope not, but
I
I wouldn't
mean,
do that. I wouldn't be so. I
this
don't
is
know.
this is how she feels most comfortable going into battle with, So like, we'll see if she regrets that. I do want to say that that scene of her like changing into that outfit that was only like that was like an extra in like a volume, so like it was like a little mini extra chapter that they included in this episode, which is really nice touch. The studio and animators really love this series. You can really tell. Obviously we we can talk about that every single week. This looks amazing, right? But
Yeah, definitely.
we, like we said, this week it really like showed what kind of characters we're gonna be working with moving forward, right? Not necessarily like the type of story we're gonna have because it's still you know uh being built.
Yeah, but the type of drama, like they get into dramas with their spirits.
Yep, for sure. And
Yeah.
but yeah, I do. I think for me, I think Dandadan has been like in like my top two every single week so far. Uh, for me, it's like one of my. Obviously, I have like the hindsight of the manga and where it is right now. So
Mhm.
looking back at this, it gets that extra nostalgia factor for me.
Mm. Yeah.
But anything else you want to point out?
No, I'm excited to see, you know, this because the first battles that they've been having, they're so out of, not out of a wimp, but
Skating by, basically.
yeah, like just, caught by surprise. They're 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 never trained.
Mm.
They were ignorant about anything, and feel like now they've gotten at least a hang of each other, as well as this new powers. Like we're really seeing a slow, steady growth. So
Yeah, I
that's
mean that's also good, you know.
in its way pretty neat.
Mm.
And I'm excited to see how they handle this fight. Because they're definitely going in with more of awareness and more of experience and confidence and
But
yeah.
still,
So
but I want to say it's still pretty much at a handicap because they didn't get to train at all. So they're really gonna have to rely on their wits and you know what's it improv. You know
yeah.
they're gonna have to improvise a good strategy for Turbo Granny, and yeah, I'm excited.
Turbo Granny.
Excited for you to see how they deal with it moving forward. All right, that's
Right.
that's all I have on that one. Dun dun dun. Episode 4. My God, what a what a good
That was
episode.
yeah, that was a good episode. I can see why people were loving it. Um I really liked it. So we see that our heroes are getting ready for battle, and and
They answered the Granny.
they're at the place. They are yeah, they are there. Like they are at the place, and they see the nanny and start their tactics, say.
Yeah,
Um
I mean, not much room to run when she basically came out on both sides, right?
mhm.
And I love the little dynamics that Momo and Okarun have. Like as they're going, they're still like arguing with one another, even though they're about to like
Oh
probably
yeah, who's gonna go first?
yeah, who's gonna go first?
That's cute.
And then they just go side by side. Oh, little little doubles. But yeah, like Turbo Granny is kind of powerful because once they're in there, they
Right,
tried to use Okarun's power, but because she cursed them, obviously she's like, I can just get the shit back. You're no longer cursed because you came.
right. And this is her territory, right? So we know that this is
Yes,
it's all
this
about territory, and this is her territory. So more than anything,
yeah, and
so
you know, obviously Momo sticks to the plan. Let's entice Granny to like want to race us, and then we beat her at it, right? We don't let her win. But obviously Okarun can run. She gets trapped, and you remember the first episode
hmm about what?
with Okarun when he first met the Granny?
Yeah, about what about it?
Well, the previous on episode 1 she got his long, and now he gets to suck her titty. That was the deal, you know.
Oh,
So he just starts nubbing on that thing,
oh.
to like for she was like, "Don't do that," right? She was like swinging him around. Such funny moment. Also, big balls on Okarun to want to do that to a ghost. You know,
hmm
um, it worked. Miss Ayase was able to trap the granny because the granny started like getting into him, right?
Right.
Trying to curse him again, and I just Momo was like pressing her, and kind of like confined her to
Yeah,
his
we
score.
see that Momo got like a new strategy of how to handle her energy, curse energy, right?
Yes,
She
it wasn't even.
shared that.
It was no longer about seeing. She was finally able to like just feel it,
Right.
and that's how she was able to deduce where she was at and suppress her to just occurrence scarf.
Mm-hmm.
And they went for a breakaway, but not without the actual like bound spirit that was in there that was making Granny so strong. That came out and
Yeah, the crap, right?
yeah, the crab. And now they're running away from the crab. Uh, it it's so like fun watching these interact, right? Because they're running away and
Yeah, it was a very good animation too.
yeah,
Like
like we
like
see him transform and turn his legs into a helicopter. You know,
yeah, turn his legs into a helicopter. This woman's putting hands like I don't know, like I don't even know how you can call her what she was doing with her
almost like
hands.
Green Lantern. You know, like
Like more like yeah, I was gonna say the elastic four, like the elastic
well, yeah,
guy.
kind of, but like you know, it's not like her actual limbs that are stretching. You know, so I would say
Right.
like the Green Lantern kind of thing, right? Um, luckily enough, you know, Momo is very knowledgeable on crabs, and she knows that if you soak them in hot water, they become hard to move. So
With their muscles, yeah.
yeah, and she was like, "That looks kind of tasty, right?" And he's like, "But you're not gonna eat that, you know?" And
Seems like they did though.
it wasn't the right one though, you know. It was a different one. It was like,
Mm.
but yeah, they try to escape, and Granny has cursed the entire town, you know, and she's kind of like, "You're not gonna get away from me," and all this other stuff, and you know, we have because Okarun did a full throttle before to get away from the crab, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now Momo's kind of telling him, just do it again, right? Just trust me this time, right? So I love that, and I love the build up to the animation. That whole sequence, right, when he was like doing the full throttle stuff, a lot of that was
Mm-hmm.
like anime original. Like, not a lot of that
Oh,
was,
really?
yeah. In the manga, it might have been like a page or two, but like when you see him like
Mm-hmm.
swerve and like move around and stuff like that, that's been like all anime.
Mm-hmm. Mm, okay.
So it's I love that scene. Obviously, it enhanced the my enjoyment of the manga more, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, I love that this little thing is kind of like a little bonding moment for them because obviously they're always at odds trying to fight one another, but at the core of it, they trust one another. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's
Yeah,
always
and they protect. Yeah, they're trying to save, right? One another too.
yes, and
Not like they're gonna sacrifice the other, save themselves. You know, they're
exactly.
trying to
And,
to win this together. So.
yeah, they're this time they're in it together, and they're not like really, you know, at one another's odds for the first time. You know, um, but yeah, they escaped, and Granny gets unleashed again, right?
Mm-hmm.
The
That granny was a lot of trouble for real.
yeah, it's because
It was.
Momo like let go of her and like the flight, you know, the flight jump, whatever, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Granny escapes and has the whole army behind her. That shit looked kind of creepy. I want like just
Yeah.
sort of standing in front. It's like we're not gonna let you get away because like obviously like her, she kind of holds more power in that city,
Mm-hmm.
and so
Yeah, those zombie-looking people, the cemetery. Oh my God.
yeah, those were
That's the
that's
granny. Granny's a,
yeah.
just
So
like I said, trouble.
she is, and then she merges with the crab, and it's like okay, well, see you later because they grabbed onto the bullet train, right? Which runs.
Yes, she red definitely has a plan. I like that we see her eyeing the train before, right?
Yes, we do.
And and then she challenges her again, right?
Yep.
And then says, "I just and the granny's all like even mocking her, like, okay, how much time ahead do you need? Like, and then she's, I just need 1 second.
Yep, I love
Yeah.
that, right? Because we didn't really talk about that, but like
Right.
in the beginning, that's how they kind of challenged her. It's like count to 10 minutes, but because they didn't specify that she got had to count by the second, she she kind of uh went, not necessarily broke the
Takes the
rule.
minutes as seconds. Yeah,
Yes, she kind of went
basically.
away. She kind of like went leniently in the um. She bent the rules a bit, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
And this time, Momo didn't need her to bend the rules because obviously she already had it all planned out, and
Right.
the train was moving faster than what Granny could go by. But like the Granny was like, okay, when the train curves, you do realize it has to stop and or not stop, but
Yeah,
like
it
it's
has to slow down.
slow down for the curves.
Mhm.
And Momo was like, yep, that's all. That was all planned.
But I don't slow down. Yeah.
Yep, and the shots of like it all being in red, right, was so good because now we see the Seiko was like waiting for them on the other side
Love that.
with the
Love the way that she was waiting too. Such a
yeah
badass like pose.
yeah, and she was also put a barrier like we saw in the previous episode, right, where like
Mm-hmm.
no ghost or evil spirit can cross that barrier. So the
Yeah.
Granny was gonna be cooked if she went through there, right? And Momo was holding her, so like there was no escaping it, and they went through, and
Yeah, because the granny got it wrong. She's the one that's good.
they got exorcist,
Uh,
right?
yeah.
And lo and behold, like we have this beautiful like scene now that it's no longer red of like these girls just like floating, and
Oh, that was
they're like
that was
they're
that was
like
kind of
free.
sad for real.
Yeah, and then Momo kind of realizes that, right, and they go back to Seiko, and Seiko's like kind of like tells them like the reason and this kind of humanizes Turbo Granny a bit, right, too, because
Mm-hmm.
these girls were like chopped up and whatnot into pieces and left the remains in that place where the Granny
Mm-hmm.
was. And it was more so because like the Granny always appears where like children are in trouble, or like what was it, like done wrong, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And like she just kind of like looks after them essentially, like she's like a very she likes to look after the children that were left, right? So the Granny is more humanized this episode, and I like that because you know up to this point we just thought she was like
Yeah, we get her story, right?
yeah, we get a nice little backstory of the
Yeah.
Granny, and it's a touching moment because like
Mm-hmm.
this allows Momo to kind of realize what her grandmother also does, right? How this
Mm-hmm.
exorcism is actually good, in the long run, because you allow the dead to like pass on and move freely, right, to the next life. So
Yeah. So
that was good.
not be trapped for
Yeah.
what it's like.
Yep. And
And I like the granny,
yep.
the grandma, right?
Seiko.
Said something about that.
Yes.
She was like, the death and the living live in their separate worlds, and when they cross each other, whether the living comes to the death world or the death world comes to it, there will be a fight. Like there will be because
Yep.
you are taking their territory, like you are,
Yep.
you know,
And
you are
but it's their job
coming
as
to their,
mediums.
you're coming at their, so they're gonna defend them, kind of thing. And
Yeah, and that's like where they come in, right? And that's where they have to be the balancer of kind of the things, right? So that's good. Momo gets a more awakening of her responsibilities now as a medium,
hmm
and we get the little dinner party
yep,
with the
cute. I
crabs.
mean, look.
Oh my god, I loved every second of that because they're like eating nonchalantly crabs, and Okuna's like kind of like, you guys can actually eat this after what we went through.
hmm
you
I'm
know
with him.
yeah. And Momo was kind of like fighting the grandma, and then the grandma's like, by the way, your curse is gone, right? And he's like, yeah, yeah, I got my dick back, you know. And she's like, okay, let me see it, you know. And he was like, what? No, never. So now he moved off from one granny that wanted it long to another that wants to see it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
My God damn it.
but at least somebody went out happy because Momo got to fucking like dig herself into like a crab feast because her grandmother was so occupied with trying to see if Okarun had his penis back.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I love the end with like the farewell, right? Because they were like saying goodbye to each other, and they're like goodbye, goodbye, you know, like in their heads, like goodbye, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah.
Momo was like, Okarun, you know, like see you tomorrow, you know. And I love that because you could see like how much it meant to Okarun when she said that, right? Because he's no longer gonna really be alone. He actually has the friend he wanted all along. Something,
Right. It was very touching. And I like that she acknowledged too the moment, you know?
yeah.
And
And you can see like this whole ordeal like really um deepened their friendship, right? So
right.
very very good. Um, yeah. The little preview next week we're meeting more of the characters, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to know just be aware you might hate the next person that comes.
Oh,
That's about
okay.
it. But
Good warning.
but you might also just love her. It's one or both. It's one or the other. You know, she's one of those.
It's either or,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So that's about it. Anything else you want to add?
No, that's all.
Okay. On to the next one. Dun dun
Hey,
dun.
job.
Yeah.
So we're gonna talk about dun dun dun. All right.
Yeah. So
Always love
go
the
go ahead. You
the
start it
intro
off.
song.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so never skipping that. And then it's really cute. This it's a very I want to say school day episode.
Slice of
So
life. Yeah.
yeah, we see that they're him more than her at the beginning being awkward about greeting each other first thing in the morning or if even staying friends throughout the school, right?
Yes.
And I like that at the beginning she was so strong will and up in his face,
Yeah.
but throughout the 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 day, yeah. So so she's all excited about talking to him about weird facts about aliens, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's just happy for having a friend to talk to. So,
Well, not
mhm.
only that, but he also wants to talk to her, but he wants to talk to her about spirits now, right? So it's kind of like they both got each other into what they like,
The other one, yeah,
and you even saw like Okurun was like drawing like the crab spirit
hmm
that they just went up against, you know.
defeated, yeah.
So it's really nice. Also, like it's kind of like a good way to like ease into things, right? We just got out of the first major like battle, let's say, right? Or like a
Yes,
not just first, like a consecutive like gauntlet of battles, basically, right? So
correct.
now it's kind of like this slice of life is kind of needed, and you know, I do think that Momo's definitely been more the aggressive one, or, like the more assertive one, the one that like makes Okarun like react, because Okarun is
Definitely.
very much not very reactive. Like obviously
hmm
he saw Momo
He
was waiting.
stays to
He's
himself. Yeah, he keeps to himself.
Yeah, and like
a lot.
Momo says, like he always thinks of the worst, right? Instead of like trying to figure out
Yeah,
what's going on, and it's kind of like that again because when he sees her like standing there waiting for him, he thinks to himself, "Oh, it's probably not me. It's probably just somebody else, right?" But it was clearly him, you know.
clearly.
Uh,
But,
and well, now that they're like in separate class, so like they're only like real time to like really talk before like during school. It's like during
yes,
lunch, so
that
so
was that was a thing there happening, right? But
yeah,
because they're in different class and different group of friends or different in
yes. I
I
just
don't know high school status, you can even fucking say it.
yep.
Um, they were having a hard time finding each other, and they were looking for each other. They were
Yeah,
really missing each other.
by like the hair of the tooth, right?
Yeah.
Hair of tooth. It's like I love that Momo goes into his class just like where's Sokarun, right? And everybody's like we don't know who.
Nobody knows.
It's like nobody knows who Sokarun is. It's like nobody goes by that name, and she's like, okay, the boy with glasses. Also like, okay, be more specific, the one the
Right.
occult
I
boy.
like that. I like that he goes to her looking for her, and he's like, "Is Miss Ayane here?" And the dude is like, "Dude, speak louder. Like nobody can fucking hear you."
Yeah. Uh,
like,
um.
like, damn.
But yeah, they just like keep missing each other. They go to lunch, cafeteria, then to the store outside, and then they're like, I just love how like whenever you see them, they're all having like their own little monologue. Like Okarun's kind of
They're like
like,
next to each other,
yeah, right next
and
to each
like,
other. Just
and it's still like when one's looking up, the other was looking down. Like,
yep,
they they couldn't be more unsync together.
yep,
It
yep.
was cute.
Yeah, like Okarun just feels like he's annoyed her, and I think like in a way like Momo was kind of like reflecting on how she was interacting with him in the morning.
She,
She's kind of
yeah.
like maybe I came too strong, and I didn't really
Hmm.
figure out how he's feeling about this whole thing, right? And Okurun's more so like the one that's like maybe I did annoy her, but they did end up running into each other at the end, right? And they kind of smushed a bit, right? A small little peck, teeth
Yeah,
and all.
it just happens that her friends
Yeah, her
did
friend.
see that.
Yeah, they
Mm,
always end up
Fun
they always end up
seeds of
seeing.
it.
Yeah, and they're both obviously very flustered that they kind of kissed accidentally, right? Not necessarily like um what they thought their first kiss was gonna be, right?
Hmm.
And with the friends obviously being there and they're like trying to spread rumors, like both of them pretty much like fight again, and then they reject each other on some more, right? And Okarun like goes to the bathroom. Miss Momo goes to the class, and Okarun notices something's missing, and he tries to go tell Momo like what's happened, and she's kind of like standoffish, like uh, like get out of here, you weirdo, completely rejecting Okarun, and Okarun just kind of like damn, like feeling defeated, like is it really that embarrassing to like be seen with me, right? Kind of like
Very dramatic, but
I mean, you gotta like I feel for Okarun because obviously like in his mind, this is the one person he can fight, and they make up, and then they're like good, so like it's his true friend that he's kind of trying to rely on, and she's just kind of like, yeah, no, get away,
hmm
you're
she
weird.
was really being really mean though.
Yeah, she was. And
She was. I'm glad her friends called her out on it. They
yes,
were like, even if it's true that you guys are like not friends or not going out, you're going too far. Like
yeah,
that was legit.
yeah, but that the fight did not stay very long because she notices Okarun's with another girl, right? and she's like all up on him, sweet talking him. So he's kind of like, she
Oh yeah,
was,
he bumps into another girl.
yep. And she was kind of like, well, sweet talk. She sweet talked Okarun, and then Momo like catches her like as she's talking to her friends, and it's like the complete opposite, right? She's just like, it was kind
Mm-hmm.
of like she was pitying Okarun because he's such a weirdo, and that like saying like kind of like this is probably the best day of his life because like he's never gonna be with another cute girl like me and whatnot, right? And
That's a bunch of bullshit.
yeah,
Well, it was kind of nice for her to see that because that's exactly how she was sounding.
yeah,
So
because it she did act on jealousy a bit though, right? Jealousy and kind of like a bit of
yeah,
anger that her friend was being made fun of behind his back, which
for
you know,
sure.
so she took it upon herself to like have some things like something fall on her, you know, and then she went and made up with Okarun, and it's kind of like let's go, and grabbed him by the arm, and it's like you don't want something to fall on your head, kind of like poking fun at her, like yeah, I did that, bitch. What you gonna do about it? And she does
Yeah,
apologize, She apologizes to Okarun in the end, and
glad that yeah, glad that helps them, make up. So
yeah, and she did explain to him, like, she was just like flustered because of the accidental kiss and the stuff that was happening with her friends and stuff. So, but
and of course after he tells her what he was looking her for, right? She
yeah,
couldn't stop laughing about
yes.
that
Do you
fucking
want to
bit.
tell the people why that what Okarun's
Oh my
missing?
goodness. He fucking misses balls like he really is though in in the general idea too, but
Yep.
also physically apparently. Which brings us to why, right? In the
And why the granny
grandma.
wanted to see his penis the last episode to make sure he wasn't cursed, which he was because Turbo Granny managed to escape the exorcism by hiding in Okarun.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Hiding it all. But then after this whole split of what the grandma did, the granny ends up being this cat, like
yeah, the Turbo Granny's the cat.
classic, yeah. Which is neat because we have seen this cat throughout the intro too, and
Yes,
the
the
opening song and
the outro.
closing song. So we finally see the connection, and it's nice that there is a connection.
Yes,
And
I like though that
it, mhm.
this time around, Turbo Granny has no spirit powers. All of it is left within Okarun, which
Mm-hmm.
they do agree to give it back to her after they get his balls back.
Which she really seems to not even be able to. So they're really
Well,
kind of stuck. It's what it seems to be like stuck like this for a bit.
yeah, because she dropped them somewhere.
Stupid. Yeah.
uh, okay, but now, how do you feel about the upgraded transformation of Okarun?
It was legit. I like it. Good for him. Maybe it'll help him get some confidence and
Yeah, I mean it's just supposed to enhance his overall like demeanor or like his overall like
hmm
emotion, but he does look cool. He no longer has that face mask thing, but it seems that he's able to access it on his own, which is the new kind of thing, right? He just has to figure out how to access it because he did it accidentally. But if he can learn to access it by himself, he Momo won't have to worry about keeping him in check anymore because the granny separated from the
hmm
powers. You know, but yeah, I just want to say it's so funny to me uh watching the this and sub because the cat is literally Luffy from One Piece. So I just hear him whine, and I'm just like, damn, you know,
Yeah,
the instant connection. I'm just like, oh my god, okay.
definitely.
But yeah, I'm excited for you to see this big ball chase. Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
so just to give you an idea of how long this is, this is probably gonna carry over multiple seasons because it just it is not as simple as it sounds,
Mm,
and
right.
that's about it. All I'll say on it. But yeah, how funny though. First it was his dick, and now it's his balls.
hmm Well, it was all his thing, right? And like the granny said,
Mm-hmm.
he just didn't pay attention. Like, how did you not realize? But
Yeah.
it's not because it's that big. It's probably like a pencil.
Yep. uh,
I know.
God, that
God,
laugh
my
from Momo
granny's
was
good.
hilarious though. She's just
I
rolling.
know. She was just rolling on the floor,
Yeah.
literally. That was good.
Okay. Well, I'm excited for you to meet the other characters that are coming.
Yeah, well, we kind of met one,
Two.
although she's been having the pink hair
The pink hair girls is gonna this one, and the cat, the turbo granny, and the cat dog.
and yeah, and
So
the turbo granny in the cat
yep,
shape. Yeah.
yep. But yeah, that's all I have on this
Me
one.
too.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Dandadan.
Dun,
All right.
dun, 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 dun.
Such a catchy tune, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna be talking about two episodes, and we're gonna start off with episode 6. I want to know your thoughts on Ira.
Oh, the new girl?
Yeah, the pink hair girl.
She's she's something. She's something.
Do you
I
hate her?
mean, that whole with like, oh, I'm so beautiful. That's why the gods chosen me to see spirits so I can purify the world. I don't know what she's talking.
Yes.
I don't know. Just so full of herself. But other than that, she's cute. I mean, she is cute, and she doesn't mean harm. You know, like she's just full of herself. Yes,
Yeah, because
but she means no real harm. Although kidnapping her and sipping her
yeah,
hands were it's a little bit too much. But
yeah, yeah, definitely. Because this episode kind of like this episode made the entire world hate Ira. I want to say like just the way she's put off, like obviously the like you said, her condescending ways of like
mhm,
being being full
mhm,
of herself and stuff, and
mhm. Yeah.
and I think it was mainly the part where like she was playing with Occurrence feelings that really tore people away from her. But you
Mhm.
know, she's 15, 16. Like we gotta,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
it's just a kid, you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
We can't really
She
like
she ain't really a bad girl, you know. She's just stupid in a way.
exactly just hasn't grown enough. Which you know the person that is really stupid is the Turbo Granny who lost Occurrence balls.
Mm-hmm.
We start off the episode with them looking for them, and you
Yep, and
know
she not helping at all.
she's not helping at all, but she does tell them, you know, they you can't miss them. They're like round and they have like spirit. They're full of like spirit energy from her, right? So it's like they're kind of hard to miss. They look gold and big and stuff, and she's basically like, you know, you should probably hurry to find them because they're gonna attract
Anyway,
like they're gonna attract
yeah.
like supernatural creatures and stuff, right? Or and I love how they both of them kind of like jumper, right?
Yep.
Like they give her a good old beating, and obviously good on them not taking shit from her. And then when they go to school, we get Okarun, you know, being kind of like the Okarun he is, shy and stuff. He runs into one of his bullies, right? And they're like, "Oh, are you going out with Momo, right? And he's like, no, not at all, right? We're just friends. We're not like that, right? And he's like, oh well, she. I heard she was kind of easy,
So cute, and she's so cute.
Yeah, and they're like, she's kind of.
Yeah, the first he says that he's really cute, it puts her into a spin. Like, wait, so busy that she was my friend that I
Yeah, and then once they're like, we heard she was kind of like letting everybody hit it and stuff. He was like, who said that, right? And he kind of
uh,
lost it a bit, and the turbo granny power like kicked in, and you know he almost killed the guy, choked him to death,
mm-hmm.
and
Yeah. Good thing he got into back to his senses though.
yeah, I mean he did, and I mean the turbo granny kind of told him, it looks like you really can't handle my power at all, try to play him again, and it's like, you should just let me take over your body again, right? I'll make sure to
Mm-hmm.
put the power to good use and stuff. And he's like, this time I mean, he's a pretty smart kid. He's like, I'm not falling for that. We have a deal. Until I get my balls back, you get nothing. Which, you know, just saying that out loud is so funny. We
Yep.
we're literally having a story about a guy trying to get his balls back. That's pure
That is
comedy.
hilarious. That is hilarious.
And we have Momo, who's trying to talk to Okarun, and Okarun, obviously, because the comment about like Momo being cute is stuck in his head, is now being like more self-aware of that fact, right? And he's getting shy and can't really look at her. So Momo instantly thinks that he's avoiding her, and the friends tell her like, that's kind of odd because he kind of put a guy in his place after he heard him talk smack about you, you know?
Yeah, should talk about that rumor. Yeah.
And who's the one that put that rumor? None other than our girl Ira.
This girl, she's just like she said it in there. She doesn't not know how to not get what she wants.
Exactly, and I think that's one of the main faults that is making her be in that way. Obviously, because she's always having her way. So like, she thinks she can
Mm-hmm.
get away with everything,
Yeah.
and she did see that Momo has her psychic hand when she like dumped that train on
Yeah,
her.
she can see that, right? Like she actually has some like spiritual powers on her own.
Well, yes, because she found the golden ball. She found
Yeah,
Okarun's,
she did.
and that's
Mm.
what's letting her see psychic powers and stuff like that. Which, by the way, the Granny Turbo Granny kind of lets us know a little late that if a human was to find it, that it would probably awaken their powers, and that we should probably find that human soon, because if they're able to see the yokai, then the yokai can see that they can see them, and they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
want to take them from her. And she's actually like kind of also warning Okarun at the time that there's this yokai that's been around, right? Which we later find out is Silky, acrobatic Silky,
Yeah, the
because
mother.
yeah, which we uh we find out who acrobatic Silky is because Turbo Granny like looked up the info on Momo's
Google.
friend's phone. Like she stole her phone.
She stole the phone. That's
Yep.
so funny.
Yeah, and I want to
She's
say
just like,
like,
you are for real.
yeah, I want to say though, even though Iris friends kind of like tied down Momo and stuff, they did not deserve to be flown into a wall. You know,
I have to agree with you there. Like, god damn, they're rough.
that was I obviously, like, this is an anime, so I don't think they're dead, but like they
Yeah,
should have been
yeah,
dead.
yeah, for sure.
That was
I was not taking that easy on them.
yeah, that was a little excessive, but deserved. Um,
For sure.
but yeah, obviously Ira like really tries to use a cross to like send Momo away as if she's like a demon. Pretty funny. Acrobatic Silky takes her and it's like, you gotta call me mommy again, right? And
Oh,
Okarun tries to save Ira, but he gets eaten.
Yeah, they all get eaten. Well, except for Momo. It's too good. Too good.
No, she gets eaten too.
Oh yeah, you're right. She gets eaten too. Yeah, she does.
They all get eaten.
They all get eaten. Yeah.
Ira like gets eaten because she's been rebellious, and the Silky does not like that, and she blames it on Momo, and that's why she tries to persuade Momo to tell her that to call her mommy too, but Momo's like, nah, I'm gonna do my own thing. Eh,
Fuck off. Yeah, she's all like cussing her out too.
yeah, and she gets eaten then, and
Oh, that is when she gets eaten. Yeah.
yeah, she gets in then, and then obviously we got the MVP of this episode, which is Turbo Granny, coming in, and it's like, listen, like you old bag, right? You old bag, uh, you've just eaten all of them, right? And you're gonna spit them out, right? Because what you ate, firstly, because Momo being wrapped around her hair was able to use the little cross that smelled like oil because it actually is oil, right? And
Mm-hmm. The lighter.
yeah, the lighter that's partially oily. She lit the entire hair on fire, and it burned Acrobatic Silky, and pretty much sped them all out. And then it was like, I just love the Turbo Granny was like, I'm not helping you guys out. This is like a lesser weak spirit. She didn't really know who it was at first because she's like, I'm too high up to like pay attention to the small fry, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she ends up like helping them in the end with the lighter thing, and I love how even though they're saved, o- o- Okarun is still like how you say, like talking to her about like, you almost lit me on fire and stuff. Yeah,
I can. Oh, did you stop talking?
I paused it for
Did
a
I
bit,
stop you?
but
Okay.
I was just saying that Okarun like lid like was still like talking smack to uh Momo because she lit him on fire right from the inside,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like it's better than being eaten. So we now have Momo and Okarun once again like getting ready to fight Acrobatic Silky for real this time. And you know then we get into episode 7, which you know
Which is to the background of the ghost, which I
yep.
like. I like that it goes there.
All right, you want to go ahead? I want to hear your opinions on this because this episode kind of broke me a
Ah,
bit. Like, I'm not gonna lie, this.
it was definitely surprising to see because we knew that she wasn't the real mom from the girl, right?
Yep.
But it was good to see that we started with her backstory, with her
Well, her point of view when her daughter was taken away, right? That's how the episode kind of
no,
like.
well, first with like her relationship with her daughter and how like close she was and
Yep.
how she would work, come to work, take care of the girl and I will, it make they're not very clear what the mom does for work, right? But you can kind of tell that she might be into prostitution or she might
She's.
be owned by like by some mafia.
Yep.
Like
It's. I think what I loved best about this backstory, right, was the fact
mhm
that aside from like the initial parts, it was just like the music was playing in the background and you just kind of saw things
mhm
happen. So you
mhm
get to kind of like piece together the story where the mother's like working 3 jobs just to pay,
mhm
just to make sure the lights are on, and for her daughter to have a chance to be a, a ballerina. She
mhm
just like her mother was, and at one point the mother decides to treat her daughter to the red dress that the
The dress, red
yeah
dress.
the red dress that the acrobatic Silky has, and that's what like makes it to the point where she was no longer able to pay off the mafia people that she owed money to, or like that owned her, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and that's when they
Like,
came,
yeah, pay all her quota.
yeah, pay her quota and stuff. So now they came in and they destroyed her home and took her daughter, and that was like obviously like probably one of the saddest things. So then you wake up and she wakes up and you just see her like bloodied, and she goes out into the rain, tries to look for her, and just the whole like art direction during that portion where it was you were seeing it as her point of view, right? Where everything was just kind of like a blur, and she was just running, and obviously at one point she realizes that her daughter is no longer gonna come back to her, so she does the one thing right that brought them together, which is the ballerina dance thing. And you don't, it's not really said or shown quite as clear in as it was in the manga, but like she starts dancing in the rooftop and she jumps off from it. Obviously in the anime you just kind of see her dancing, and you just see the lights as if she's somewhere high, and then she does this leap, and then all of a sudden you get the shot of her being like a ghost with the grudge, with like not grudge but like regret,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, with regret.
little Ira sees her for the first time there, which is just not,
And that's how she gets like bond to this world,
yeah,
kept in a way. Like,
yeah, that's why she wasn't able to move on, because then she realized that she wanted to protect her daughter all this time, and she made it her mission
didn't.
to kind of protect Ira, right, afterwards. And you know we did skip to this big portion of it, but I think this is like the juiciest part of the episode,
Mm,
obviously. And yeah, we this is how uh acrobatic Silky saves Ira's life, because obviously because Ira was eaten, she
yeah, and she's real human. Like, she doesn't have like real powers or
any
like
yeah
them.
yeah or yeah exactly any protection from like the yokai. She died,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the only way to save her was for Momo to grab the little bit of aura Ira had left in her life, right? And grab the aura that acrobatic Silky had, and kind of like transfer it through her psychic powers.
Yeah,
But obviously,
like a spiritual CPR.
yeah, and
I like that the Turbo Granny is like the one giving all the directions.
yeah, uh, I do think that it is important to know that as all this is happening, like Momo is also experiencing all these memories, and that's why
Uh huh.
she cries for what happened and stuff. So, and obviously, like as far as the ending goes, right? Ira start seeing like acrobatic Silky kind of fade away, and we get like a little bit of Ira's backstory too, right? Which her
Mm-hmm.
mother passed away, and the father was the one that told her that she went away somewhere better, right? And that's also like kind of like why she hung on to like acrobatic Silky, because she was looking for her mother at that age as well. And now that
Yeah.
acrobatic Silky was gonna be leaving, it was basically the Turbo Granny was saying like, she'll go on, and because she's still here with regret, like she'll be forgotten soon, right? But Ira goes and hugs her and is like, thank you, mom, right?
Yeah, I thought that was very, very good.
Yeah,
Giving her some sort of goodness, like actual.
yeah, some good character moment.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
she basically says that she'll never forget her, right?
And to, yeah, that she thanks her for everything,
Yeah,
taking care of her, which really, really is what the woman needs.
yeah. So I'm a, it's not really stated, but we can pretty much surmise that Acrobatic Silky passed on with no regret now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I agree.
and that's the later half of the episode. We can talk about like the action portion, which was like the just the beginning before the intro, which we have Okarun hitting his big full throttle move on Acrobatic Silky, basically, right? Pretty much.
The real MVP there was Momo. Fuck
Yeah,
Momo with her fucking hands tied and being able to fucking save everyone.
exactly. Momo really. I mean, she is the main MC of the show. We want to say
Yeah.
like they're kind of like a duo with her and Okarun, but
No, she is.
she is kind of like the main one. She's the one that gets her tangled up, right? When Okarun is fighting her at first,
Hmm.
so it prevents her from moving, and it allows like Okarun the chance to actually like do the full throttle headbutt, which it was so funny because he was like, I don't know how I did that the first time, and Emma was like, well, just do it again, just wing it basically. But
And then teaching him how to fight because you don't know anything.
yeah, which I mean, it's good to know that Okarun really has no idea what he's doing, right? And him and Momo are kind of learning on the fly right now how to fight and stuff.
Hmm.
And obviously, we have a thing where Okarun. First of all, we still don't know like how he's gonna be able to handle all the stress that Turbo Granny puts on him. Well,
Hmm.
we sort of know because like I think Seiko like back when she was introduced told him like you gotta train. So
Yeah,
we're gonna have to see Okarun training to be able to handle more of Turbo Granny's power, essentially. Which
definitely.
you know I like that, and I like obviously this show has so many good things to it. It's funny. It it's very good in the action. The adaptation's like incredible, but I think this is like really where people really got taken by surprise because I don't think nobody was expecting it to get like this emotional of an episode.
Yeah, get some death on top of it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we got death. Yeah, death. Mhm.
So
Mhm. Um, getting the background story and being so, yeah, so like that was a
yeah,
good touch,
yeah, I'm
emotional touch.
yeah. I mean, and this is like a character we knew for like less than an episode, right? Like one episode,
Mhm.
and it made us feel like in this way. So I think it. Imagine how it will feel like if we get like a emotional story for like one of the characters that we actually care about.
Mhm. Agree.
And so
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I guess I gotta ask you: do you see Ira joining the crew?
Oh yeah, I mean, I can tell that she is going to. I mean, she was part, like she was there,
Yeah.
and how nosy she is going to involve herself with.
Yep. And do you see any? Well, I should ask you: did you see the previews for the next episode?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay, good. Okay, then I guess I
Mm,
won't. I won't ask you about it. So okay. Anything else you want to touch on for Dandadan?
mm-mm. No, that's it.
All right. Well, on to the next one. Dandadan.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes. So coming off from the heartbreaking episode 7, we finally have simpler times, happier times, funnier times with everybody just eating food together at long last, right? Even Ira is invited.
Yes.
And
Very cute all around the table. Have
yes,
some noodles.
yeah, I gotta
And
say,
discussing what happened, right? Like they were going like
yeah. So
over
yeah, so basically Momo
saying how like
apologizes.
the grandma is hot and
Yeah,
Momo is a demon.
yep.
And the grandma's not helping because she likes to just have
Y-
fun, I guess.
yeah, and also how Okarun is being brainwashed by her or something like that. Also, um, but before that, Momo does apologize for everything, and tries to reconcile with her and stuff, and she does not take that right. She's like, I still think you're the devil. I I'm gonna free you, Okarun, from your
And I'm
spell.
an angel.
Yeah, which I don't know.
She's
I
so
think
funny.
I think Momo had the right to hate her. I mean, she tied up her hands and almost caused her to get completely eaten, by by the
Yeah.
acrobatic Silky, and she was forced to basically use her power on her friends, which we don't know
Hmm.
what's happened to them. Hopefully, they're just unconscious somewhere else. Um,
Yeah. Yeah,
but
we still don't know. We still haven't seen them.
yeah, so I love how they're bickering and fighting, but they're doing it while they're stuffed with noodles, and they're like
Hmm.
talking and they're understanding each other, even though they're not really like saying any words, but just like I guess the facial expressions or the way they're slurping their noodles, like they're understanding what each other is saying. That was like really funny, and
Yeah.
and then she tells Okarun like why you save me, right? Why you keep saving me even though you're like turned into like a demon, right? And he's like, well,
Yeah. I'm not.
yeah, why not?
No, he's like, because I'm not a demon.
uh, okay,
Like,
so the
I'm
sub,
not a demon.
well, I think the sub just said like, why not, or like, why shouldn't I? You know, so
Ah, I see.
so,
It's like, oh, in the dub, he was like,
but
because any human would do that. It's
yeah,
like,
he did,
because I'm not a demon.
yeah, because yeah, and like I said, like the sub said, like if somebody's in need of help, you just help them, right? So that's how the sub said it. Um,
Oh, he did say that.
so you know, or maybe I missed the whole human portion. Who knows? Uh, but basically, this lets her know that he still has I guess a human heart in there because she still doesn't believe he's not a demon. But now she's just like, okay, maybe you're just possessed by Momo, so I'll just free you.
Uh,
I love though that there's a distinction as to both Momo and Ira. Like Ira calls him by his actual name, and
mm,
Momo's like Okarun.
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Oh, the grandma. The grandma's just there, like, oh,
yeah, the girl is so funny. I love
I'll
Seiko and Turbo
I'll
Granny
see
too.
you later. Come back when
Yep.
she really does not help Mo
Nope. Not at
that
all.
much.
But and then I guess we talk about you want to talk. First of all, the way that they give him back his bowl is hilarious
Oh yeah.
because they're
That only took a minute too.
yeah.
Damn.
He They basically play baseball with his nut and try to like pitch it back into him, and
Hmm.
it causes him some pain, small pain, all good, but celebratory. He finally has one ball back, one more left, and then we get into the school side of things, the less the more slice of life stuff once again. So Momo and Okarun are kind of like talking, but it's supposed to be a day when Okarun trains, but he doesn't really tell Momo that he's gonna ditch ditch lunch to go train. So he kind of like makes up a lie
Yeah.
that like he's gonna work on a report and whatnot. And she's just kind of like, okay. but she's obviously like feeling like something's off, like he's not telling me the truth. They've been, together for a bit, and she knows all his perks, so like I understand, like she would be like the first one to pick up that.
Yep.
And Okurun's not a good liar, so
No.
uh Momo ends
Still a
up
nerd.
Momo ends up catching him in the sly and in the worst possible position with him on top of Ira.
Ira's really on him, right? Like she's
Yeah,
been stalking him in a way, like
yeah, she
and
is. And I like that we get the little flashback of how they got there, right? And it was because Ara was trying to confess her love to him, and
mhm.
Okurun is the entire time was like, nope. And she was like, well, aren't you? And he's like, why are you trying to kiss me? And she's like,
Yeah.
it's like you're supposed to do that when you confess. I read it in my dad's books, and it's just like the adult magazines.
Oh, I know. This is
So so this is how Ara's getting informed on love because she's never experienced it before. And Okurun tells her how much like, how are you so dull? How are you so dumb and in love when you have all these guys falling for you?
well, it seems like she hasn't really given them a time of the day.
Not at all. I mean, she gives them the time that she feels they deserve, not the time that she wants to give them. Uh, but yeah, they end up getting tangled, and Okurun falls on top of her, and Momo's like, "Okay, well, you're just lying to me." And he's
Mhm.
trying to like come up with a way to like get her to hear his side of things, but Momo's not having it. She's like, "Well, did you lie?" And he's like, "Well, yeah, but I have a good reason." He's like,
Mhm.
and it's like, shove your reason, and
Yeah, yeah, I know.
typical,
And
typical, like miscommunication between lovers.
Okoro. Yeah,
Yeah, and
good Okoro. Should have just been honest. Like,
he should have. And
so then,
I mean, we do get his little routine, for his training regiments. The grandma's told him
yeah,
what to do, and
advise him. Yeah, the training.
mm-hmm, and we see him do squats, push-ups, and stuff. But yeah, Momo forgets about the drinks. She's like, I gave them to the floor, so her friend doesn't get her drink, and then there's this boring like science class going around about how the shrimp mantis and whatnot. Uh, and then they get transported into another dimension.
Yes, that was so interesting. Back to like how episode one happened,
Yeah,
or
episode 1 and 2.
they're now it seems like it goes back and forth from spirits to
Two.
alien. Now we're back to alien.
Yes, very, very good way of doing things. And obviously now this time it's the aliens, and this time Okurun and Momo are separated though, but
Mhm.
Ira also gets brought along,
Yeah.
and basically I want to say um this punching guy, the mantis looking alien, he's also in the intro,
Mhm.
and so is this Loch Ness type of monster. It's also in the intro. So now you're
Yeah.
meeting you're meeting all the intro ones,
Yeah.
and we
The
have the
scariest one was the dinosaur, though.
yeah, the Loch Ness one. Yeah, um, that one's definitely the scariest because it sent the changed in waves when Momo moved, and just like shot a laser beam at her, practically.
Yeah.
So definitely things you don't want to fuck around and find out. And then we have Okaruna and Nara trying to take on the mantis, but they get interrupted by the serpients. The ones from the first episode. They're using psychic powers on
Yeah.
Okarun,
Yeah.
And once again, they're like trying to get his genitalia,
His
and,
junk.
and he's like, "Why is everybody after it? You know, why is
Oh
everybody after my
no.
junk?" Um, and, and they end up using it on Ira to like blow her away, and they're kind of like confused because they're like, we're only supposed we I thought we set the settings only for those with high spiritual like energy or stuff, something like that, right?
Mhm.
And so now before Okarun is completely about to get his junk snapped, or cut, Ira shows her transformation, and it's very similar to acrobatic Silky. How do you feel about the that uh transformation?
Mm?
How do you feel about Ira becoming the new acrobatic Sulky, essentially?
Mm, really, really, really. I think that's. I definitely think that's cool. I will see what she does with it. I still, that's 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 where it really is at. What she does with that. Once we know that, definitely form a better opinion
Yeah,
on how we feel about this.
yeah. Well, I do want to say that because she can transform, now she's even more uh annoying per se, because she's like, I really am the chosen one, you know.
Mm,
But yeah, I mean, based on this, you can just assume maybe she'll have like the same abilities acrobatic Silky had. But yeah, I mean, transformation's cool. She saved Okurin. We need to see what else she can do, and mainly we need to get Momo out of harm's way, because she's separated.
yeah,
That's the one we really care about.
yeah.
And that'll be it for Dandadan. Let's move on to another one. Dandadan, episode 9. This one starts off with Ira turning into acrobatic Silky. You know, kind of like really nice to have this passing of the torch from the dying mother to Ira.
Mhm.
And, and of course, like, Akaron's like pretty much naked, so Ira's like, oh well, now you kind of have to marry me because she sees him naked, and the aliens are kind of like being obnoxious, and they're like, oh well, now we have more people to experiment on, so they're trying to take her banana organs as well. And Ira like tries to go at them, but like obviously can't really like break the barriers because she has quite the skills for moving, but like when it comes to like raw power, I think her transformation kind of lacks a bit. And that gives like an advantage for like the shrimp to come in to try to help his employees, which we found out in this episode that they pretty much hired him to take care of the kids first, and to make sure like nobody interfered with them, like processing Okarun's banana organ.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was just
It was a silly episode.
interesting. Yeah. So that's yeah. Um
I mean, we got to see the what acrobatic silk, or like what Ira and Okarun would fight off together. Like how they were kind of doing their
mhm,
ballet dancing, and
mhm.
Okarun was being like the speed and the power that she kind of like needed in a way to like deal more damage to the shrimp who got transformed by the serpients or the serpos because he was not doing his job properly. So they were like, okay, well, we're just gonna give you a boost. And Momo was the one that came to save the day at the end of because her powers are able to like reflect the aliens' psychic abilities. So that were like holding down Okarun and Ira from transforming. And it's
Yeah.
it's so funny when Ira was telling calling Okarun by his name all of a sudden, or like saying something that made Momo kind of like waver a bit or like think about them being as a couple, and they would just like fall flat on their face from the psychic pressures. Really, really interesting stuff. And we have Nessie finally come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Momo was like, okay, well, you guys can stay here. I'm gonna bounce. Leaves him behind, and Ira gets sent into into the sea, up in the classroom, because this monster can like place water anywhere and everywhere. So she was kind of held underwater, but like in the ceiling. There was like no real way to really save her with Momo's power. She needed to get closer to her. And of course, she's still like feeling kind of betrayed a bit by Okurun. So like they get into like this kind of like mini fight where she was like, "Well, you lied to me," and Okurun was kind of like, "Well, like if something's bothering you, just let me know." He's like, "If like anybody else can have like their own opinions of me and anything, and I won't mind it, but like he's like, I can't have you being the person that doesn't understand where I'm coming from, or like the one person that would like hate him or like without knowing the reason, right? It was a nice little moment with Okarun and Momo there. And then of course Momo like comes clutch once again, using her psychic powers to propel Okarun. Like she was holding on to him while propelling him. Really interesting way to like ride a kid in the water, and that's how like they went to save Ira. They got her free. Like the Nessie monster killed one of the aliens, and then the aliens decided, well, since you're useless and since the shrimp is useless, I'm gonna merge all three of us together so that that you guys can be of use to us. So now they have the high pressure long range attack from the Nessie monster, and then the close range attack from the shrimp mantis alien.
And those aliens, we're really learning about these aliens, and I kind of like that. And they even made a friend.
What was that?
Really, 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 really love that about Dandadan. Um, but going back to them having that uncomfortable talk, I really like that they do have their moments like this.
Yep.
You know, it really shows the development in the relationship. I
You.
think there's um I think you can even see it in their expressions that when they see themselves, like when they find themselves, as you said, having these conversations, they cannot realize what's happening, you know.
Yeah, I
You
think
know,
I
like
think
like developing, you know.
yeah,
So
the show is
it's
very
really
very smart about it. Like they
mhm.
portray that these are conversations by like actual people. Like these are uncomfortable conversations that they want to have, and the show's just putting it out there, like, yeah, like
Mm-hmm.
it might be awkward, but like, at the end of the day, this is what it's gonna end up needing to happen
Mm-hmm.
at some point,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it just so sort of happens to be when you're being attacked by the Loch Ness monster in this case.
Yeah.
Um,
And then they're begging the grandma for more uniforms. I love that. I
oh,
love that Momo just adds them to ask her grandma for the new uniforms. I'm like, Momo, this is why your grandma fucking gives you shit. Like you just use your grandma as a shield, as a wallet,
well,
as
before
a
we get to that one, I guess we'll just
uh,
let's just wrap up like the episode 9 really quick with pretty much
whatever.
they beat the Loch Ness monster, obviously, and they had to like get rid of their clothes so that they don't because the clothes are gonna weigh them down in water, so like they had to be on their underwear, and of course Okarun is kind of like naked because of the aliens, but they put their powers together. Momo does the big lifting by making the alien destroy his own arms, and then Okarun does his full throttle after Ira like grabs it with her hair, because her power is like just hair and dancing like a ballerina. And yeah, episode 9 ends in like the funniest way with them being caught butt naked in the hallway by everybody, and then they have to like run away in a like the most hilarious way. I think the animators did a good job of taking that scene and making it into like one of the funniest things I've seen like all year round. Uh, but yeah, those episode 9, episode 10. Uh, they're at the nurse. How do you feel about the nurse?
the nurse. Well, she was just weird. I mean, she was just not really what you would expect from a teacher.
I mean,
I
no,
don't know. She's suspicious.
yeah, very,
Suspicious, I guess.
yeah, kind of, but yeah, I think this is like where we get into a little like theory crafting moment. Well, they're there, right, where Okarun is wondering why the aliens haven't invaded and why they're after his junk. So he pretty much summarizes in the most easiest way possible that the reason why aliens are not invading Earth is because the yokai are like keeping them at bay.
Hmm.
Which,
Well, that's Euchre's theory, though.
yeah, that's what he
That's just his
theorizes.
theory. Yeah, he's just throwing things out there.
Yeah, it's his theory, but I mean it makes sense because why else would they be after his they feel like because of his powers they if they experiment on him they're able to overcome them or make them their own. So it would make sense in that way why they're constantly like kidnapping humans with supernatural abilities. And of course, like the real question is what's gonna happen to them and their reputation. I was just like, well, I'm just gonna blame it all on Momo. She made me do it. And Momo was just like, well, yeah, you go for that. I don't even care anymore. And even Momo tells like Okurun, like, yeah, you can do the same. Like, I do not care. And Okurun, obviously being the knight in shining armor, is like, yeah, no matter what, I'm not gonna bath mouth you, you know. And they have their like little moment, like after like she explains everything or like he explains everything to her. It's like, yeah, I've been working out. It's like, why? Well, why didn't you just tell me? He's like, well, I just want to look cool for you. And she was like, well, she had like a little smirk. It was like, yep, of course. I didn't know you were like that, right? And it's like, well, yeah, even a guy like me has to be like that sometimes, you know. And the Momo's friends like come in, and they kind of interrogate him for a bit, like trying to figure out what happened. And they thought that Momo and Ira were like fighting for Okarun's heart, like gladiators or something.
Gladiator. Yeah, that was funny, the gladiators looking thing. I was like, oh, it just happens that we're fucking getting the Gladiator 2 movie came out.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's not as ludicrous as like saying you got kidnapped by aliens. You know, like it's pretty much like around the same ballpark. That's like the weirdest thing that could have happened. But yeah, we have well, we have a very big Ira moment that happens afterwards, right? Because now she finally comes clean about everything, about how she was the one spreading rumors about Momo and that everyone.
Oh yeah, that was so legit. That was a very nice moment, I feel like, because she really goes there with the intention of blaming it all on Momo. And
Yep.
then when push comes to shove, she really didn't have the guts to do it.
Well,
Or the
no.
conscience, I should say. The conscience to do it.
Yeah, she had the conscience
And
not to do it. Yeah.
yeah. So that was really cool. And then she leaves and then goes outside and who does she find or who finds her? Momo.
Momo. And it's like, well, looks like you didn't do it. And she's like, no, I
I
totally
know,
did.
Momo's such a fucking bitch.
Yep. And, but I like that. They have this little moment where it's kind of like, Momo realizes, you know, Ira's not so bad, you know?
Yeah, I think so too.
And then they get interrupted by the shrimp mantis guy again. And this is where you get his first insight on his backstory and how why he did what he did. What are your thoughts on his backstory with his little boy Chiquita?
Mhm. Yeah, and how he was just doing this for money. It was just a job
Yep.
to him. So
I mean, it's kind of crazy though that the kid had how to say like loses like a gallon of blood a day or something like that,
yeah,
or,
something.
or he loses like blood every time he pees, some shit like that.
Hmm.
So he's always needing like blood transfusions. And Seiko's like, you know, you smell kind of funny. Because she smelled like bad milk on his bandages. And it's like, well, this smells like your blood. And it turns out that alien blood is, you know,
Milk.
milk.
It's fucking cow milk. How crazy is that?
Yeah, it's funny. And of course, then,
And that's when the epic scene comes of a cow getting taken by a fucking.
yep. And now they acquired a new friend to help them whenever they need to later down the road.
Mhm.
And now you now we get to the funny scene with Momo saying we gotta what was it exploit the financial powers of adults.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the
and
grandma
get new uniforms
yeah, and the grandma's
and beg
like
growl for new boots.
yeah, I like how the grandma was like I don't like how you have eyes of like exploiting the financial power of adults.
Just like she fucking hurt her. I think she did.
Yeah, she
Like,
heard
Momo,
her.
you're not slick. Yeah.
Yeah, but at least Okaran gets a free uniform and so does Ira.
Well, it was Momo's fault. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't even Momo's fault.
Yeah,
But
kinda, but we finally get our first look. at the new boy, or like I should say like old boy
Yes,
Gigi.
at the final character, at the final, yeah, character in this series.
Yeah.
I'm really, really.
So Gigi comes in like the worst time with Momo trying to do an impression to get as many uniforms for his grandma, and Seiko
Yeah.
tells Okarun like, yeah, so that's Momo's childhood friend, and also her first crush. I'm
I
just
think she was bullshitting there, that grandma.
she wasn't. That was
Just
the
stirring the pot there.
she
I
was
don't know.
she
Momo's memories didn't seem like she was all that into him.
well, that's because she's so
She
into
seemed to
Okarun
had
now.
always been annoyed by him.
No.
So.
It is pretty much. You remember in the first episode how there was that boy
Mm-hmm.
that made fun of her that she really liked? That's him.
Ah, that traumatizing moment that she recalls.
Yeah,
It was
yeah, it
him.
was him.
That yeah, you know what? I kind of figure because at least I didn't think it was like that, but in a way because he was kind of apologizing to her about that, saying like,
Yeah,
"Oh, now I'm coming here because I need of your grandma's powers, and I made you fun about, you know,
yeah.
you saying that
So
they exist. So,
yeah,
and now
so,
I'm here like knocking at your door asking for help about them, like
yeah.
so."
So
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, that is pretty shitty.
yeah, but that was episode 10. Episode 11 now with the actual full introduction of Gigi. Um, yeah. So Ira still, thinks Momo's building up an army. How do you feel about that? Because this
Stupid. I was just stupid.
she is
But I mean, they're
she,
friends. I mean, but they're friends.
they're kind of like rivalries, or
Yeah, yeah,
Ira feels like Momo's like a rival to her love for Momo,
yeah.
and
True.
to like nobody's surprise, of course Gigi like moves in, and it seems like Okarun is taking it kind of like hard. Obviously, you have to find out that's the girl you like's crush, right? Who is like tall, athletic,
I know,
fun,
right? He
fun.
really goes in on the comparison. I'm like, goddamn, oh girl.
Yeah, and as he's leaving, I like how Momo's like, "Hey, I said see you, tomorrow. Last time, now it's your turn."
I know, right? They take turns.
And he's like, "Oh,
She's so prideful.
she's
Like,
prideful, but
have
like,
pride, yeah.
she." I think that's like her way of like pushing Okarun. Like, she was kind of hoping like Okarun would like reciprocate it. So like I understand that.
Yeah, to open up a little bit.
Yeah, open up
Just,
a little bit, and you know I just feel so bad for Okarun. Obviously, now that Gigi's here, for at least for the first half of the episode, I felt bad for him. But Gigi's there, and he's just sweet talking to Seiko, and it's like, "Ooh, you're such a genius." And then she just like, keeps feeding him or like giving him whatever he needs because he's calling her like a cute aunt instead of like a cute grandma, or like you know, kind of making her seem like a hotter person or like a better person. And we find out why Gigi's there, which is he is now able to see ghosts, and his family got hospitalized because somebody that was living in his new home started off like injuring people or like making them commit suicide. And of course, like that pretty much like Momo tried to play it off as like, all right, grandma, you got this. And the grandma's like, no, I don't actually. Because remember, I have no power outside my. Yeah, and Seiko like makes it so that Momo goes because she has no power. in any place but where her shrine is.
Hmm.
So now it's like Momo's like, okay, well, why should I do it though? Like it sounds dangerous. Like I'll buy you any uniforms you want, just for accepting it, not even for like getting the job done, just to accept it. Which is like, all right, well, fair, like I got this. And Gigi joins the classroom, and it happens to be Momo's classroom, and he is. How do you
Yeah. Oh,
feel?
and I mean, he's gonna live with her now. Like he's there to live with her.
Yeah, I
Mom is just like letting her know as it's happening. Like no big deal.
yep, and yeah, like I like how he tried to play it off as like oh yeah, we're like living together now. Don't worry, it's like
Hmm.
parentally approved or something like that. Or and Mom was like, well, don't say it like that stuff. You'll get the wrong impression. And Momo's friends are like, yeah, she already has Okarun. Like I love how like Gigi doesn't even know Okarun by name, right? He just by he knew him by like how he looks, but not by name.
Yeah.
And we see like more so now that Okarun is really jealous of Gigi. Like it's more.
He saw him and he said, "Look at this eclectic hot guy."
Yep.
Yeah.
And and like he's doing doodles of like them going on dates instead of like him, and he's like wondering like, oh, what if like she loses interest in like the occult stuff. And pretty much that leads them to like go and work out during their lunch session.
It's kind of sad the whole imagination that he had though of her like stop hanging out with him and hang out with her more and like slowly like becoming a couple, getting heartbreak for him.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
bro, let things happen before you fucking get hurt about it.
yep, exactly. But yeah, definitely. Obviously, it's like causing him a lot of stress. So like the best way to like get rid of stress is to like just work out. So he does that, and Momo like sees him and is like, well, if your hands are busy, like I could just feed you. And he was so ready to like just have this moment with Momo, and then here comes Gigi. Like it's like, okay, well, I got you like this. I think like basically he bought her off with the yogurt, like her favorite yogurt brand or whatnot. And that was like enough for like Okorn to like want to like leave the space right there, kind of like give them their own, and it's like, okay, well, here comes this random, what was it, like the body, or like this random like mannequin looking thing.
Oh my god, I was so yeah creepy in a way.
Yeah,
This like the science class like health body. It's like running through the city. And
yep,
it's I like how they suspect right away, like you must have your balls for him to run like be alive like go after him.
yeah.
I
And
feel like or
what was that?
older generation manic.
Yeah, and the love
And
story.
then the mannequin runs through that, and they'll see it. I like. And I like how they suspect that it's because he has the balls.
Yeah,
So
he has the golden ball, you could say.
yes, for him to be able to move like that, they like figure, okay, that he has to be able, he has to possess them to be able to move like this.
Yeah,
And they follow him, and they hard.
yeah, they follow him. Go. Yeah, and the transformation was
They
really
were
cool.
having, and they were having a hard time chasing after him. And I thought he had gotten lost, to be honest, but seems like Mom always finds a way with her like smarts to figure out where he was. I don't remember how she found him, but it was like I can hear him or something like that.
So
So
when they were chasing him down, right?
mhm.
There was a point where they like actually stopped them, and he ended up like disassembling all his body parts.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And
because
she,
Mama had like
yeah,
yeah.
and then Momo before he like reattached all of his body parts together, Momo grabbed his heart and was
Ah, that's right.
just pounding at his heart to so he would yell.
Mama.
Yeah, I mean, she is kind of like really smart,
Yeah,
very calculated and
yeah, like very wits,
yeah,
like at the uh, at the moment, right? Like she,
yeah, the beat is like on the fly, very
yeah.
improv type of way, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But no, yeah,
Right.
that love story with the mannequins was kind of like,
Oh, that was cute. Not gonna lie.
yeah, with
Especially because it was like such a basic or just general, like, oh, we're different models.
yeah.
It's like, but
No, I mean,
yeah,
it
it was
was
a nice
like,
drama, add,
yeah,
add to the drama, just add to the drama.
yeah, it really was, and I just think I think it was like really cool how it was like the mannequins were kind of like a stand-in for like Momo and Okarun as well, right? Because Okarun was like listening to Taro
To the
talk.
confessions,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, I mean, they had more guts than they could ever
and I man, I just
to
want to say
admit
like,
their love.
yeah, I just want to say that what's it, Okarun? He has one ball right now, so like he's kind of missing one. Maybe he
Oh
needs
my
a
god, I saw a meme
yeah,
of them being drawn like Dragon Ball. Hold on, someone's knocking.
yeah.
Oh no, someone's knocking upstairs.
Hold on.
It's so scary. I'm so...
Yeah, and no, yeah, I just like really enjoyed that
It
little.
was it was a little awkward. They even felt a little awkward,
Yeah,
and
I mean, it was
I mean,
just more
yeah,
so like Okurun really just was listening to this guy, just talk about it, right, and he was like, "Damn, I kind of feel in that way,"
yep,
and I mean, he didn't really say that, but like you could like tell from his expressions and
the
stuff.
expressions. Yeah, agreed, agreed. It was a nice, like I said, there's like its own way of letting us know that there's development,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
nice little development, for themselves. So mhm.
Yeah, I mean, and it's good. We gotta see their little relationship grow. Obviously, there's been multiple hints that Okurun is catching feelings. There's even more evidence
Of
that
course.
that Momo fell for Okurun, and you know
Mm-hmm.
it's just fun seeing
She gets so
how
flustered when they say his real name.
yes, that's
She
that's
gets so flustered, like she's so stupid.
it is, but it's like a nice little gag. Hopefully, like
Yeah, exactly.
but yeah, no. I'm really excited to see how this wraps up because I did not I have a feeling of where it might end, but I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the episode kind of like the episode preview showed like it's ending in like a different way than I expected. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
uh,
I mean, the dude, to me, he's a little bit annoying.
GG.
Yeah.
So
But we'll see. Hopefully he grows on me.
so
But
I will say the dub actor, like I love his work,
mm-hmm.
but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he took up that annoying level to and cranked it up. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was
Mm-hmm.
because the sub does not, at least to me, it doesn't sound as annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And
No, I just feel like his whole persona, not just like his speech, like yeah, and like how he kind of is too. I mean, I get I guess I was just never into popular guys, and he just seems like the
I
typical kind of popular guy.
I mean he is kind of different though. Like he he he's the typical build of like a popular guy, but like he's in the complete opposite where he's like just goofy. Like
True,
he
you're right. Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of like, yeah, you're right. Which is kind of why I feel more maybe awkward or more standoffish about it. Yeah. Uh huh.
yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
but he'll grow on you. He's gonna be part of the main
Yeah.
squad.
No, I know he's gonna grow on me because but for now he's just like you're too
Yeah,
much kind of thing, and
yeah,
you just got here.
yeah. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
you just have to see him interact with Okurun and Ira, and then you'll see like
yeah,
you'll see better side of him. But that'll
right.
be it for this episode, or like
Yeah,
this this video part. So if you guys like what you hear, what we say, give us a like, a comment, subscribe,
comments.
share, all that good stuff.
Mhm.
And until the next part, bye. Dandadan, episode 12, the season 1 finale. Oh boy. Oh, starting off right where we kind of left off, with Taro and his girlfriend, the dolls.
Mhm.
So basically, everybody begs Granny Seiko, to let him in because he wants to, to let the girlfriend in, right, of Taro to stay there so that Taro can visit her like during the night.
That's right. So Momo can be such a suck. It reminds me of me, to be honest. Like I'd be talking all tough and mean, but there I will be like losing sleep for someone to see that just sneaking with their love of their life. Like fuck
Yeah,
you.
exactly. And I love while all this
Like
is
that's
take.
so kind of her. Like how
Yeah,
sweet.
yeah, she is. She's so tough, but she has a really.
Obviously, and it's of course just comic relief, I guess. How he just runs in through all this fucking trouble and basically gets there like the latest he can get there, which is like when the sun is coming up kind of.
Yep. And he's like, I'll be more careful next time. But I like that Momo just
It's just
wait.
like there's next time, so like there's
Yeah, he was. There was really a lot, right? Because it was the students were going back to the school because they heard of the haunting place, haunting it at night, right? Because of him, right?
yeah.
And they found him, and he bolted, and oh yeah, it turned out that his golden ball was not really a golden ball. So sorry for
Oh yeah, it
Okura.
was an ornament.
Yeah, so it's too bad for Okura. He's gonna have to stay with one ball for a while. Um,
Right.
but
They still haven't found it.
yeah, but I love that. Obviously, before all this happens with the Taro and the girlfriend here, right? Gigi's getting beat up by Turbo Granny, which I really like, right? Because usually she beats up on Okurun, but this time she was beating up on
Yeah.
Gigi. and and Okarun notices that Gigi and Momo are kind of like flirting with one another, right?
Yes,
And he just starts to
yeah.
intervene and is like singing a
Like
song,
he
and
needs to be in there
yeah,
too. Yeah.
because this is because of Taro. He decided, okay, well, I'm not gonna let Gigi get in the way, so I'm gonna do my best to intervene and fight my fight, right? And I love that Gigi just
Right.
like knows the song that Okarun's singing, and then they just start like swinging back and forth with one another, like going side to side to one another. That was like really cute.
Oh my god, that stupid dance was hilarious, by the way.
Yep.
What were they doing? God knows, but that was funny. Yeah.
Apparently, that's a slam dunk reference. I think.
The what?
What uh Okarun and Gigi were doing was like a slam dunk reference.
Mm.
I wouldn't know. I haven't seen or read slam dunk, but
Yeah, me neither. Even though it's on Netflix.
yeah, but it was funny. I
Yeah, oh, it was
just
hilarious. It really reminds me of why I didn't like Dandadan. It's just
yes, it's so funny, and I just love they have this like rivalry, but it's very like friendly too, right? Because
right, of course.
now they're like,
There's
okay,
admiration and respect there, right? And of course, at the end of the day, they're both there for Momo. You know, they're not there for each other. So it's
yeah,
like don't make it about each other when it's about Momo, but it is about her when they're jealous of each other. So yeah, they're having a dilemma there.
yeah,
Like,
and Okarun kind of takes offense, right? Because I think either Momo or Seiko, I forget who finally lets it out that they're gonna go to Gigi's house to exercise it, right?
yeah.
And one was like, "Oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
I was planning on you tagging along anyway. You want to come?"
She had better said that,
Yeah,
or Oprah would have gone a little cray cray.
yeah. I mean, he's already kind of like going a little cray-cray, right? Because there's like a lot
Yeah,
of
that's
times in
funny.
this episode where, first of all, he tries to intervene like from Gigi a time from a lot of time, right?
Hmm.
But when they're like on the train ride, there's a moment where he's kind of like feeling down on himself. He's like, man, I
Hmm.
hate feeling jealous. I hate doubting. Like he hates doubting himself and putting himself down because that's not what
Yeah.
Momo like told him, right? Because I think way back in like episode 1, Momo was like, yeah, you're always putting yourself down. That's not how you're gonna communicate with people, right?
Hmm.
So that's why he's kind of like, well, I gotta take this and take the initiative, and that's why he keeps trying to like intervene with Gigi, and he even does the little like, oh, have you heard about this UFO or like these extraterrestrial, right? This Kappa, this, and then he points to Nessie, and that's when Gigi's like, oh shit, like I like this kid, right? Like he's like, oh, like he starts talking with Oker, and like they're having like a little their bonding time about Nessie,
Hmm.
and obviously
Yeah.
Momo's kind of in the background, and we, as the people that have watched like the previous arc, or like kind of like, yeah, Gigi has no idea about Nessie, you know. So I think that's like an interesting aspect to look at, where like you have an overview side of what they're talking about, and the character
Hmm.
is just no clue. Uh, but yeah, I think after this, Okarun was kind of like, damn, am I really hating the wrong person? Gigi's actually a great
Right.
guy.
Right.
Eh, but obviously there's like a lot of things that Okarun sees in Gigi that he kind of wishes he had. Obviously, like his physique and his stamina more than anything, right? Because Gigi had no problem running up the steps.
Oh my god, that was so ridiculous for real. Like, god damn you. Like,
This was like through how many stairs was that? Like there was like three of them, like a bunch.
there was like thousands.
Yeah,
Felt like thousands.
and I think Gigi. That's why Gigi's so freaking fit, because he's just like running up and down those steps
For
constantly,
real, or just full of energy.
which also is kind of like, which is also kind of weird because we know the previous night he had nightmares, right, about
Mm-hmm.
the ghost or whatnot that haunts him at night, and he's like, damn, another sleepless night. So I don't know if the reason why he has so much energy is because he's actually going crazy from not from deprivation.
Mm. Well, actually, I would think that would makes you not, have energies
I mean, he has to like,
and be able to.
yeah, but I don't know, like he's fit, so like maybe that's like how he's coping with it, right? Because I don't think he's had like
Yeah.
a good sleep since this he started noticing things in the house. And we
Mm.
we finally see the house, and it seems pretty normal. Even Momo was like, yeah, nothing seems out of the ordinary, but obviously,
Right, right, right. To the point that she's going to just go to this hot springs, dummy, and separate from the group,
yeah,
dummy.
yeah, which was really, like you said, dummy, because we saw the people that were hiding in the forest, and I think, oh, how do you feel about those
How did
people?
she not feel them? How did she not notice them? It's beyond me, but
I mean,
I mean they're creepy. I mean, obviously they're up to something, like there's something up.
yes,
Something is up with that town, there is either a curse or a witch or a wizard, doing it.
there's
Um,
definitely something evil in that place because first of all, like
yeah.
I love that Momo was like feeling like a queen, right? Just goes in the living room, sits however she wants, demanding things of Gigi. Like I want a juice. But as soon as like,
and then ditches him. Fucking Momo. See,
yeah, but I
women, you
just
can be so mean.
yeah, but I love the different energy she chose to like Okarun, right? Because as soon as like Gigi leaves, she's like, oh, like come here, come sit with me, Okarun.
Like, yeah, like a
So
puppy in a way.
yeah, and then obviously she's like, yeah, if there was anything here, it's probably not doing anything because I'm there. That's what she thinks, right? Because obviously her psychic powers,
Hmm.
she feels like because of her, like they're in hiding. So that's why she decided to go to the hot springs. Be like, okay, maybe they'll show up if I leave. And she somehow like manages to go into the mixed bath, because obviously the sign is too dirty that she can't even see, and she gets attacked there. Poor Momo, getting attacked all the time. And
Hmm.
while this is happening, Gigi and Okarun are trying to play football. Like Okarun's
Oh
like,
yeah,
and then Gigi's just like randomly, "Hey, do you love Momo?" Like, no warning.
Gigi is something.
Yeah, he is.
Gigi is something for real. I'm
Eh,
just going to,
yeah,
and then teases him, right? Like he sees that he's having a hard time to to even fess up to it, and she's like, "Well, I am."
yeah. Like I love her, and then
Yeah,
this
like
time,
okay, I'm in love with her, like, and
yeah,
then he like takes it as a competition, like, well, I'm more in love with her, like.
yeah, and then he's like, "I knew her since I was a childhood, right? Since I was a child." And then Okarun was like, "Well, and then I don't think he says he kissed her, but he thought about it. He's like, like getting
Yes,
shy.
yes, and he feels it, right, like, okay, what did you do, like, say
Yeah,
it, like.
yeah. And then Okarun's like, "Wait, was that what was the bedroom always there?" And then like, "Oh shit, you know, I didn't think I noticed that." So then they go back in the house and they find this like hollow space in the wall. So they break it. Obviously, Gingy. It's really funny seeing that Gingy's like, "Yeah, we're kind of renting it, but it won't matter, right? We're just gonna break it in for a bit." They break it in, and there's like a bunch of like talismans everywhere in this room, and that's how this season ends. Just leaving us off in the cliffhanger that they found a secret room.
Mm-hmm.
Memos get
I found a secret. Momo is about to get attacked by the weirdos,
weirdo
spirits
man.
from this town,
Yep,
or aliens. We don't even know with this show, We
yep,
never know with this show if they're aliens
yeah. I mean,
or
it's
spirits. So
we'll definitely have to see what they are and obviously we know the season 2 was confirmed for the summer. So when the summer
Mm-hmm.
comes around, we're definitely gonna be covering season 2. But overall, what are your opinions on your first impressions of Dandadan?
Me?
Yeah,
Well, I liked it. Like I've been repeating. I like the fusion of what's it called? Spirits, yokai, and and aliens. I
yeah,
think that it's a very unheard of kind of theme,
that
combined theme, and the color palette is great. The design, the humor is hilarious.
yep,
How she's obsessed with this guy that is named like her, like him,
yeah,
and
yeah. That's always
has
funny.
the same thing. It's like it's like a running thread. Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. I know you read it when it was
Yeah, when it was
from the beginning. Yeah.
yeah. So
So
like
is it finished?
it is not finished. The manga is still ongoing. It's like a
Oh,
hundred
okay.
77 chapters in. I
Are you
think
still reading it?
yes. And
Oh wow.
the only thing I can say is we're getting more interesting
Mhm.
characters later on, for sure.
Mm,
And with the visual that was dropped for season 2, they already hinted at one of them.
okay.
So I mean, if if the next season covers the next 3 arcs, we might get introduced to 2 new characters that are gonna become relevant moving
I'm
forward.
kind of excited to see them meet because they didn't meet, right? The other extras, the two extras,
Yeah,
Gigi and the girl.
Gigi and Ira. Yeah. Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Ira hasn't had much time with them. She didn't come on this trip with them.
Yeah. So I mean, she met him, which it was great.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
mm,
well, she's off doing her own thing. You know, she thinks Momo's trying to build up a
mhm.
demon army, so she has to prepare for
Yeah.
for it. But
Yeah.
yeah, this I gotta say for adaptation wise, this the manga
Mm-hmm.
complete justice.
You tell us.
Yeah,
Okay. Good.
complete justice. I think certain parts of the humor were even a lot better seeing them in motion.
Oh, great.
Uh,
Great. That's always the point, I think.
yeah, and I think some of the obviously because it's the manga's like black and white, some of the more like I guess you could say like scarier or like more terror side of it, like like when Gigi when he was freaking out, that felt a bit more terrifying seeing it drawn in black and white than it did in the anime, but it still did it. You still felt like the emotion that Gigi had, like so. I think it did its own spin on it, which is still good on it.
Okay.
And
That's good.
I gotta say, like uh, this next arc that's happening is even better than the Silky arc. This arc that we're
Okay.
currently stopped in halfway, so it'll be
To me,
yeah.
it's already having a very interesting theme.
It is.
Like, like the fact that this house is haunted and it seems to have affected the town.
Yep.
It's like, so.
Yeah, you wonder
Mhm.
what's happening and who's affecting who's
Yeah,
behind
you
it.
already know that something's happening there. And, yeah,
I mean,
no,
well,
very interesting. I
yeah,
really feel like we were left with a killer hanger for those reasons, but.
yeah. This felt like it should have been like a 24 episode season, right? Based on how it was,
Mhm.
because I felt like if they did the Nessie thing as kind of like the last like episode, I thought that would have been good. As like a kind of completed first season, but they decided to leave us a cliffhanger, which is still good.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, sure.
I'm excited for the next season.
Because it's only like a few other seasons, and then we get back.
Yeah, which and it's already in production, so I don't
It's
think we're
like
it has a
it's
health.
winter,
Yeah,
spring,
and
and
then
then it's summer,
yeah,
which
exactly.
is when it's going to be. So,
and it's practically
Yeah, I
like,
mean that's kind of why I feel like they do it too.
yeah, which a lot of good shows did it. I think I think Sakamoto Days is doing the same thing that we're gonna cover next season. They're gonna take a break
Mhm.
and then come back on the summer. Um,
Mhm. Okay.
but it's just healthy to keep the anime looking as good as it does. To take breaks in between course
Oh
or
yeah.
seasons, whatever.
No
But
fillers.
yeah, I think that
No
that'll be it.
rush feeling.
I think
Yep, that's it.
that's it for this video. If you guys liked what we discussed in this video, leave a like, leave a comment, share, all that good stuff. Check our info for our socials,
Other
and
videos.
check
Mhm.
out it. We have a playlist for the fall season. If you guys want to check that out as well, just like share, and hope you guys join us for our next Jap session. Uh,
Mhm.
Bye.
Okay.